how to film things. Hello, friends. Hello. Happy almost New Year. Yay. Wow, so what a time we're having. If you didn't know, currently been in my room for a couple days and we'll be here for a couple more days. But that's great. Great things happen here. Gosh. But being in my childhood room with nowhere to go for so long has reminded me how many books I own. And that made me thinking, wow, Allie, remember how many books you've read this year? Yes. Yes. So my goal at the beginning of the year was to read 50 books. Man, I got to 35, and I definitely, if I got to move on, I could do 36. But my brain can't handle that right now. So, 35 books for the year. Yeah. I think that's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty proud of that. But to celebrate such an amazing achievement, I thought I should talk about every book that I've read this year and give a review. And I did this on my blog, but who reads that? Probably nobody. But again, who's watching this? Your guess is as good as mine. But, so I just want to talk about all the books that I've read and whether or not I liked them. I did Pop Sugar's 2020 reading challenge, and I obviously, not only did I not get the 50 books done, like the goal, the challenge, but I definitely strayed there toward the end out. It gives you, like, all the prompts for books to read, and I definitely stopped doing that, particularly because of, like, series. It's hard to fit that in. I did manage to fit the whole Percy Jackson series. Well, I think I fit 3 of the 5 Percy Jacksons into, like, categories, which is kind of cheating. But it works, I think. I don't know. Don't blame me. Okay. So, I don't know. I'm gonna look right now. Do they have one for 2021? I'm sure they do. This is like, they get paid to do this. Yeah. Okay. Fun. I don't know what that means. I'm always scared when I don't know what things mean on things like this, because I'm like, is it inappropriate? I'm scared to go. So yeah, so I'll probably try to do that again and try to read a lot of books, but that is not the point of this video. Maybe I'll do another one at some point. Stop dinging. Stop it. Just kidding. I love you. The point of this video is to talk about all the books I've read in 2020. So without further ado, let's go. Gotta find my list. I could probably look in Goodreads. I put them all there, but I think it's gonna be more fun for me to look at my Instagram story. Yes, okay, so the first book that I read this year was The Alchemist. This was a group read that we did for staff at work. Super good. It wasn't as good as kind of I hoped, I think. It was still really cool and made for some great discussion, so 10 out of 10. Actually, I probably didn't give it 10 out of 10, but would recommend. Next, I reread a book. Actually, I wonder if I have it here. I reread this book, Four Chair Discipling. I read it probably my freshman or sophomore year of college. Super good, and was really good, I think, to reread going into the role as, like, a youth ministry intern. Like, I think that helped me some, too. Just putting words and visuals into things like that kind of helps me, anyway. So, yeah, so that was book 2. Next. Gotta go fast. Croissants vs. Bagels by Robbie Samuels. I got this at a women's conference in 2019, and I didn't read it until then. And it was kind of about networking and that kind of thing. And I love things like that, but it was kind of like, I felt like it was kind of talking down to me. Like, I don't know. I need it to hype me up, not to make me feel bad. I don't know. I like bagels, though. Next one. Another one that I thought I had here, but I don't. This is the the major negative, I guess this probably isn't the biggest negative, but one major negative of being at home right now is I don't have a lot of my books with me. Where'd You Go, Bernadette? Here's another one that, like, is on, like, every, like, must-read book list, and I was just not loving it. It didn't hit right. It really didn't. But that's okay. I would probably still suggest it. I have no idea. I have no basis here. I have no standard. Sure, read it. Why not? Next. This next one. Ashamed. This next one is Breaking Dawn, which is right over there on my shelf with all my... So, last summer, I told myself, I said, Allie, you have to read these Twilight books. You have to read them because culture. And the movies aren't bad. I mean, they're kind of like so bad they're good. So I told myself, I said, you're going to read these books. Ding! And so I did. And they were not fun. I didn't have a good time. It wasn't enjoyable. If you haven't read them, I still think you should read them for the culture. But let me just say, Team Edward though. Next, okay, so this is when I actually started to like use the Pop Sugar prompts to branch out and read things I normally wouldn't read. And one of them was a Western. And I said, literally, how am I going to be like, this is the one to read? And then when I would say this to people, I'd be like, what Western am I supposed to read? So many people were like, Allie, read No Country for Old Men. Not really so many people. I mean, my boyfriend and his roommate were. And I was like, how was I supposed to know? But I guess that's why these challenges exist. I should probably see the movie. I've heard that's pretty good. So yeah, that was a good one. Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. This is one I meant to read years ago and had started it, but then like didn't finish it. And I think that was like, why am I so popular right now? Focus. Super good. I want to read all of his stuff, which is like so cliche, but also like there's a reason why everyone likes to read his stuff. Really good, really thought-provoking, and just makes for good conversation too for other people who have read the book. So definitely read that one. That's probably my top for the year. What a guy. There Were Words by David Bowden. Bowden. I don't know. It's like mostly poetry. Super fun. My friend Leslie let me borrow it. Thanks, Les. Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. That's another one that just really cool discussion too. Different like reasons why people become successful and like how it's not all about one factor. Like a lot of it is just like luck of scenarios and luck of the time that things are happening. I don't know, just really interesting. Then I read Beth McCord's Enneagram Type 2 book, which is like also a journal, kind of like a daily journal type thing. I do love the Enneagram, not to be lame, but I do love it. The Sacred Enneagram is really good too, but I think I read that last year. Time is an Illusion. I really liked just like daily thoughts about, why am I thinking the way that I'm thinking? I don't know. It was really good. Next I read the Strengths Finders book. And this was another one that we did for work, and we took the test. And I think my skills are communication, futuristic, input, significance, and something else, probably. I can't remember the other one. Embarrassing. Definitely suggest at least taking the test if you haven't. Next, on the Pop Sugar list was a medical thriller, and my awesome roommate at the time, Megan, who was a nursing major, and now she's a freaking boss nurse wife. Wow. Gave me a book called Ghost Heart, and that was really interesting. It wasn't the most well written, but it was a really interesting story, and again, just cool genre that I had never really dove into before. Next. Agatha Christie, Murder on the Orient Express. To be fair, I saw the movie first. I'm sorry. But the book, super good, and I want to read more of her stuff. I have, and then there were none, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. But yes, that was a good one. That was a fun one. Okay, so... Next, I read Bad Blood. Which, let me look up this lady's name, because I don't remember. Elizabeth something. And maybe now we got bad blood. It's literally only that. Elizabeth Holmes, one-time multi-billion-dollar biotech startup. Such a creepy story, honestly. Kind of creepy, but really interesting. Secrets and lies, documentary style, deep dive, investigative journalism. I don't know. Cool. Very cool. I'm like literally out of breath. So following that was a much lighter The Lucky One by Nicholas Sparks. Need I say more? Next, I dove into a bunch of Laura Vanderkam books. And she is someone who I absolutely love. I love her podcast, Before Breakfast. Super fun and super helpful in terms of time management skills. So I read 168 hours, which is how many hours are in a week. And she kind of did a little experiment, like showing how people spend those hours. And a lot of people who work full-time or are mothers and things like that. Speaking of, the next book I read was I Know How She Does It, which was only working women, which was really cool to see too. They were very similar. The wordings and just like some of the findings were kind of the same in the two books, but it was just cool to see the difference. I love people organize and plan. That's just so fun. We love that here. I read a book called Campus Gods, which was I think the prompt was like the first book you pull off the shelf, and I went over to Cameron's bookshelf and grabbed this. And it was okay, and it just kind of talked about like the different sort of temptations on the college campus and how that can shake your faith a little bit. And I think it would have been cool to have read that going into college. But still really cool. Really easy read too, so nothing too crazy. Next, another C.S. Lewis, but I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which I read The Magician's Nephew years ago and was so confused. I was like, where is freaking Peter? Where's he at? So I didn't understand, obviously, the whole point of the series. But I reread this one, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and that was super fun. And I do want to read that whole series. I hope I get to at some point. But how many books could I say that about? Every single one. I want to read every book ever. Next, I read Art of War, which exactly, my boss suggested to me that I read this. And it's just cool how a lot of it is used like in like the business world now. Written differently than I expected it to be. It's almost just like a bunch of lists. So I don't know what that's about. Culture. Next is when I dove into the Percy Jackson series and I read the whole thing straight. Took no breaks. Percy Jackson, it was a phase. It was me jumping back into a phase that I was never in. Most people grew up and like read these in middle school. I think I read the first one. Or like started the first one. I don't think I even finished it back in the day. Never read them, and now I'm there. I'm ready for the Disney Plus series to come out. I love it. It was all I talked about there for a little bit. My TikTok was only Percy Jackson related, which that's another story. But amazing series. If you haven't read it, seriously do it. It'll take you no time. Just dive right in. The next book I read was the prequel in the Hunger Games series that came out this year, The Ballad of Songbirds. What am I saying? The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It wasn't as good as I hoped. I'm not gonna lie. I think it was just kind of like, it was a lot sadder and a lot more gross, honestly, than I was hoping. It was cool, but it kind of, it was like I didn't notice when it was all of a sudden the end, and like that peak point, I was like, it wasn't hitting me. It wasn't hitting. It just wasn't hitting Suzanne. It was still really good. I'm glad I read it, and I'm glad it definitely adds more to the whole world, but I don't know, could have been better. Next, I read Crash by Jerry Spinelli, which was really cute. I really liked that one. That was, again, after reading just kind of like the same genre there for a little bit, it was nice to have something a little more lighthearted. And then I followed that up with The Silver Donkey. Why can I not speak? The Silver Donkey, which is another really cute one. Just very innocent storytelling. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain that one, but another really quick read. I'm pretty sure I sat on my couch and read it all in one day. And it was just very light and a nice one. Next, I read I Have a Dream by Martin Luther King, which was really cool. Really cool to just sit down and read the whole collection of them. And just well-spoken and just like, there's something about a well-written speech that just is so satisfying, and so it was cool. I think especially in today's climate to read some of that, and read more from that part of history than I ever really did in school. So, MLK! Next, I read Lisa Tucker, some of my favorites, and I actually got... Okay, get it together. I actually got her new book for Christmas, Forgiving What You Can't Forget, but I finally read It's Not Supposed to Be This Way, which was so good, so good. She's just a very honest author. Like, it's not even, like, insanely well written or anything like that, you know, but, like, it's just really cool to see someone take their life and just totally apply scripture to it and be like, this is just how it is. I think it's really helpful, especially for a woman, to be able to tell stories like that. Lisa, what a girl. So this is when I hop into Keeper of the Lost Cities. I remember I read the first one. I finished it at like 6 a.m. when we were at the beach. And some of my girlies from the youth group were telling me to read this series because they were obsessed with it. They're obsessed with it. But it was pretty good. Obviously I'm on the third book now. But yeah, so that's a great one. I'm a big fan of Keeper of the Lost Cities. Hopefully I will read the whole series. We'll see. There's like 9 and it's still going. We're making it. They compare it to like a female Harry Potter. Sorry girlies, it ain't that. But it is really good and it has a good female lead and it's just fun. It's a fun, magical little world. So there are elves in it. Don't know if that sells you. Okay, so next, this is not the biggest disappointment, but one of the major disappointments. I bought the Kissing Booth book and was so ready to love it as much as I loved the movie. Ladies and gentlemen, we were sad. We were just sad. That's it. It wasn't that great. It wasn't as well written. It wasn't as exciting as the movie. Which you hate to see it. You hate to see a movie outdo the book, but it really did. I don't want to read the second one. I can't even remember if I've seen the second movie. Did the second movie come out? I don't know. Anyway, the book ain't worth it. Next, I read The Boys in the Boat. Sensing a theme here, this was another staff read at my job on campus. And it was just really cool and really fun. Talking about the 1936 Berlin Olympic team. And just like the whole like process behind them getting on the team and like their practices and like in their own personal lives. It was really cool and well put together. Like I love stories like that, and it's even better that it's so like it's well placed in history, you know? Like the historical context of it all is what makes the book, because you know everything behind it and then going into the Olympics and stuff and you know just everything that's going on in the world. At that time, absolutely wild, but also just really cool talking about like teamwork, and that was one of the big things that we applied to our staff was, you know, we're all in the boat, we're all the boys in the boat, we're rowing. So not to dive too much into that, but that was but that was really fun. Next was the second book in Keeper of the Lost Cities. I didn't like the second one as much as the first, I'm not gonna lie. There's this unicorn that comes in, and I guess she's a big deal. I'm not loving it right now. She's in the third one a lot, not loving it, but hey, we do it. Do it for the kids. Okay, for a second I was like, did I only read 34 books? I was having a crisis. But then I remembered I don't know why I didn't take a picture of this one. I read Good Kids, Big Events, and Matching T-shirts, changing the conversation on health and youth ministry. This is one that me and my fellow co-intern read, and really good. I've never read books specifically about youth ministry, and apparently there's not a ton of great ones. That's kind of not a shocker, but this one was really good, and really good just in such a weird year to be jumping into a role like this, having zero experience. But that was really good. Had some good stories. Obviously, whenever you talk about youth ministry, there's gonna be some gems. But so that was a good one too. I can't remember. I'm sure I read that in the summer. Right? Maybe I didn't. When did we read that? I say I finished it in August. Maybe I did. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun. But that is it. Those are all the books that I read this year. Super speedy. If you want to see more of what I had to say about each book, you should go read my blog. That's all I'm gonna say about that one. Yeah, books are great. I hope to this is so hard. I hope to dive into 2021 with a long list of books to read and actually conquer it. If I read 35 this year, surely next year I can read more. Grad school is just hard. It is hard to find time to read books when you're constantly stressed. Books are great. There's nothing like on a Saturday just curling up and just reading like a bajillion pages of a book. Man. Yep, that's it. That's a good feeling. Go read a book. That's how I'm gonna end. Go read a book. Bye.